Hey there. Don't be shy. Come closer. Do you like roguelikes? You know, entering the canyons, the risks of rains, the ice sacks and the spires? The rush of beating the game with whatever the game lets you pick from the ground? Of course you do. A gamer like yourself can't resist the challenge. Well, sit down by the fire and let me tell you about a story. A story about a little skeleton and his wish to save the Demon King from the good guys. The brave, the bold, the heroes of the lands. Hello and welcome. My name is Tram, and today we're gonna talk about one of my favorite roguelikes out there, Skull, the Hero Slayer. The game starts off with a tutorial showing you the ropes as well as giving you the narrative as to why you're pushing onwards to the castle in the kingdom of Carleon. After that, you and the cat witch, which cat? We'll never know if the cat or the witch came first. Your goal is a simple one. Find your way to where the Demon King is imprisoned. This means to push through the kingdom of Carleon and into the very castle itself. Along the way, there are enemies, traps, and bosses. If the gates don't open, make sure to check the enemy count above the minimap. If it doesn't say 0, you have more bones to pick out there. Speaking of gates, there are 3 of them. Normal, which gives you a random reward, gold, that gives you items, and green, which will give you skulls. Pro tip, always pick the green one, more on that later. So how do we get there? Well, we find better warriors, get matching gear, and quintessence.
Quintessence.
Quintessence. And after that, we die, then we die again, and we die a few more times while blaming that we didn't win the lottery in all 3 of the aspects by the second stage. Yeah, Trent, that doesn't sound like winning if you just die. You're correct, but the upgrades will help you reach the end. It's a natural process of any roguelike out there, so when you die, don't get angry. Reflect on why you died and how you can do it better until next time. Also, this game is hard as balls for most of you, including myself. I mean, I get a full run every 20-ish run. So let's talk about mechanics. Skull himself is not a very strong skeleton. He's a toddler whose ability is to decapitate himself at will. Not very great for longevity. So Skull says, fuck this shit, you'll do it. Finds the nearest skull to Mega Man it into a more formidable skeleton. And there's a lot of them out there. You can run with 2 skulls to swap between and on the go. It's an important skill to use because each skull does something unique to them when they swap. Some skulls are better for the map clears, some for bosses, and some just good against both. You have balance skulls. Normally they're the most cooldown based and generally are magic damage. Power skulls are slower, hits harder, and most of them are physical. They can also only dash once, and it's shorter but deals some damage. But it isn't worth the cost of losing a second dash in my opinion. And last, we have the speed skulls. They don't scale into the late game, and speeds up your inevitable carpal tunnel syndrome by the amount of mashing you have to do to get any damage out of these skulls. Of course, there are good speed skulls. Figure it out yourself which one of those are. We might have different opinions. After all, one of the main things to make you grow as a player in the game is figuring out which skulls works for you and which does not. And before you make a reply, yes, the Reaper Skull worked for you, it works for everyone. But skull type isn't the only aspect, there's rarity too. Common, rare, unique, and legendary. If you go into the green gates at the end of stages, you're guaranteed a skull at the end, highly recommended. But only for the skull, but because you can destroy skulls for bones. What are bones? Those are one of the 2 currencies you want through a run, and it's the more valuable one. The other one is gold, which you can gain from simply killing enemies. And what rarity you get at the end of the stage is shown on the pile. If you get a small collecting of barbecue leftovers, that's probably just a common skull. If it's Jesus himself just hanging around, you got yourself a legendary one. Nice. So I collect bones from destroying bones. No wait. So I collect bones from destroying skulls. Because of her. Yes, Spider Mummy here can upgrade any skull into next territory up to legendary. For a price. Yes, your common skull can become legendary by the end of it. If you find enough bones in a run, 130 to be exact, you get 2 opportunities per stage to meet her, normally after the bosses and the mini-bosses. So now that I've explained the main mechanics, you wanna know what the purple shit is, and that's dark quartz. And it's sort of a plot-relevant material, but from a mechanical standpoint, it's what you spend to gain passive upgrades at the Witch Lady. And that's it, that's the game. It has some tough bosses for different reasons. For example, the first boss, Yggdrasil, tests if you have found where the dash button is. Leanne and Sister checks if your spatial awareness and patience. The Chimera checks your ability to focus by overloading the screen with bullshit. Saint John can go fuck herself. And the final boss, well, I leave that one for you to find out for yourself. As a treat, if you can even get there. After the behemoth of a review, that was the Cyberpunk one, I'm sitting here at 2 pages, already feeling I've said what I wish about the game. So, to make the game a little bit longer, I'll make a top 5 skull list. These are my personal favorites. Number 5, the Bomber. Some of us have simple ambitions. Bomber is to explode with his beloved bomb. Probably the easiest secondary skull to run with, as Bomber has no auto attacks, only a fuse. You really want a Bomber with the Kaboom skill, so you can detonate on demand. Does big damage, a quick switch in and out skull for when you really just want to play one skull. Fits even if you run a physical build for the run, as the damage on the explosion is still quite exceptional. Number 4, Recruit. Know how I said a skull lets more suitable skeletons do the task for him? Well, how about just sending Carleon's own dead right back at them? The Recruit brings the mooks of the Carleon Empire to serve you. The more you upgrade the skull, the longer they last and they get new abilities in their final form. This skeleton is fantastic for safe play, where you send out your troops and do the focus on avoiding getting hit. Personally, I like all the troops, except the wimpy sword one. I think it's called Recruit or something like that. That one is a league worse than the other 3. Number 3, Alchemist. For some reason, the only skeleton that will continuously attack when holding down the attack button. This is the perfectly designed balance type magic skull. You get a golem that will pop up and attack in the direction you're looking whenever the meter is filled up under your health. Once upgraded, you can summon it at will for a powerful slam beam when the meter is at 50% or more. And you get the mix of flask to throw. I think fire is the strongest, but they're all relatively on the same level of strength. So don't be too upset of which color you get. Number 2, Rockstar. Speed, violence, momentum. The Rockstar has it all. The speed skull that does magic damage, keeps playing on that guitar to build a meter, drop down the amps to get blasting, and when you shred it enough, the whole rock band shows up for a while, dealing massive amount of damage in a wide area around it. The rock band does have a long cooldown to it, but you still get up to 30% magic damage increase, keeping the rock bar at maximum. It's fun, it's speedy, it does a ton of damage, it's a very great skull, and I don't think it's any bad moves, which is probably one of the best traits. Number 1, the Gambler. Gambler is a magic-oriented RNG machine, but even with RNG, he's an excellent ranged skull. His Russian roulette ability makes him shoot himself in the head, as one has a 1 in 6 chance to deal big boy damage, while the Wheel of Fortune deals excellent continuous damage where it stands and can turn into a black hole if you just score the right hit on it. His swap ability is a slot machine. It will either do 3 attacks matching the symbols or a super attack if you hit all 3 of the same symbols. Good fun, always a pleasure to run with. And there you have it. Now all I ask in return is for you to like, comment, and subscribe on the video if you enjoyed it. Oh, what's that? You can't afford a like on my video. Subscribing is not worth it, and commenting is too much of an effort compared to what I put up for this video. Well, don't worry. There are always optional forms of payments. Did you know that a human can survive with just 1 liver? I find that very interesting. Oh, well then, just stay where you are and I'll make the transaction myself. Don't worry, it'll be over by the time you wake up.
The Empire, long divided,